Here I am with Nina, and basically wanted to share her story with you all. And effectively, it starts at the beginning, right? So I want to understand a bit about what life was like for you before you started the Master Your Menopause program that we call the MYM Club, Nina.
Probably back in March, I think, because I work away from home and I traveled a lot, and as obviously the menopause set in, it just got really, really difficult. No matter what I was doing, the weight gain wasn't stopping. I'd stopped sleeping, absolutely, and the hot flushes were unbearable, and I was like miserable. My blood pressure was sky high. And even I was going to the gym 5 days a week and working for an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time. Nothing was shifting, and it was just really miserable. So I was just looking for answers, and you're thinking, oh, let me see Slimming World, let me see this. I've tried, God knows, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many diets I tried. But this just, I said, well, clearly these people are talking about what I am suffering from. They will have an understanding of how I feel, because I would go to my GP, have been for the past 5 years. And again, it was like, oh, you can have HRT, but it has side effects. You can do this, but Dad, go away, read this, read that. And it just felt like being fobbed off, and really. And so I thought, let me see this. I came across totally by accident and haven't looked back.
Yeah, for that feeling of fobbed off, it's unfortunate. And I'm sorry to kind of experience that, but you're in a better place now. And would you like to tell me what kind of results you achieved inside the MYM Club?
Well, I would say it's been absolutely life-changing for me, because I've lost in excess of 20 kilo. To me, it's like a full suitcase. I keep saying that. I've lost a suitcase, which is absolutely amazing. And I went to my GP last week for my blood pressure test, and it was back to normal, and it hasn't been like that for about 5 years. And I sleep much better. I don't have my fan on at night anymore. And overall, yeah, I just feel better for it. 100% feel better for it. Got my husband involved in it as well, in terms of the food and the diet, rather than obviously, and the walking and the exercise. And even within the lockdown, and we've had 2 of those, we never changed our routine. And I think for me it's about, and I know that in lots of your kind of videos and discussions, you kept talking about routines. And for me, I suppose when I had the children, I always had routines for them, and still do, even when they're now semi-adults. But I think as an adult, as where I was, the only routine is work and nothing else. And so for me, really, what this gave me was a routine. I eat till 1 o'clock. I make sure I finish between 1 and 8, and then I do walk, whether it's raining or whether I do it in the room or outside or in the gym. And yeah, so it's really having that routine for me for once.
You've committed to yourself. That's fantastic. So at the beginning, right, if like you had any concerns at the beginning, say if you had like you were on the fence, and what would have prevented you from potentially buying or kind of joining the MYM Club and choosing us, and what kind of reassured you?
I think the first discussion was like really like a consultation, was like half an hour. And I think what it did was it put the onus on me, rather than you have the cure. It says, so what do you want out of it? How are you going to do it? What do you think? Where do you want to be? And if anything, actually, when I had my first consultation and I was just like feeling sore, I said, oh, even 5 kilo less would be fine. And I've really since then took the mantle and say, I want to do more, because I can do more, and whatever I'm doing with this is bearing fruit, really. So for me, I think it is about kind of finding that self-motivation, and it's not that I'm going to get a pre-packed meal delivered through the door and that's the answer, or is it that a new, but and you know that I love your new menus, and there are some bits I found in that which I think like taste really lovely, and I'm thinking, wow, this is really nice, and I'm totally addicted to the porridge with coconut milk and the peanuts, and yeah. So for me, some of the recipes, and they are like our family recipes now, so we all eat them.
Oh, means I like that.
So there is nothing in there that, oh yeah, this is like diet food, because it really isn't. And for me, I think the moral really was in terms of how do you control your portions and have like regular meals and make sure that you drink enough water. So it's really that. So for me, the like is the onus is on you. What are you going to do? And you think, yeah, okay, so yeah, what am I going to do?
So if somebody was in your position at that start point and they're on the fence about joining, like what would you tell them and why?
I mean, you just got stuck there a bit. I mean, I think for me, anyone who really wants to start, I would say give it a go, because there is nothing to be lost really in following whatever you are going apart from what really. Because to me, you have to be motivated, absolutely, and you have to be really honest with yourself. And I think that's really important, because you could tell anybody anything. And there were days and there were weeks actually when I like lost nothing and I had to speak to the consultant. I'm thinking, oh, this is not nice. And so you're wanting to kind of like achieve something for yourself. It's not being for anyone else around me, and really is between me and the program. And whatever I'd listen to is not something which kind of is on TV or is for so it's for me, it's felt like really like a personal relationship and a personal journey with somebody else who's been supporting you along the way.
Oh, fantastic. So like what has exceeded your expectations since working with us?
I think the loss of the I don't know what would you call it, your seminars, lectures, discussions,
For lives,
which go beyond the here and now. And I think it's into kind of like the reasons and the causes, and I think some of it in terms of kind of like not being too punishing to yourself either, and not to be too punitive to yourself, and having days where you quickly. And I think for me that's been the issue. That is something which you have to change and live a different way, rather than is 5 weeks or is for 10 weeks and then you go back to your bag of chips and crisps and late night kind of indulgences. Because I now really do appreciate the age that I am, that whatever I ate like 20 years ago or whatever, it's not going to be possible, because the metabolism is not the same, the level of energy is not the same, the exertion, because if you're sitting behind a computer for 8 hours, it stands to reason that unless you are burning the calories, don't consume them.
That's it, yeah. So one more, I suppose I want to ask what one takeaway from the program is for you.
It's really hard to say one, because like every time there is something happens or I waver, if I've gone through the kitchen, I'll think of one kind of, oh, what about your blood pressure, or what about this, what about that? So for me, it's lots of little nuggets along the way, really.
Oh, awesome.
Which have been really helpful. I mean, I can't say any more than that, really. And I suppose overall it's about, so what do you want out of it, and what are you going to achieve? Obviously you guys are there to support, to encourage, to provide information, and I think the information, because it's been so relevant and pertinent to, I suppose, women of certain age and what we are going through, which is genuine, again, like from your own story as to how you got to be in it. And you've said it before, why would a man be talking about women's issues? And cut this bit off. Like, why wouldn't straight people talk about transgender people, or why wouldn't able people be able to talk about disabled people? So it's the same, really, isn't it? It's about having that empathy and that compassionate understanding and that emotional intelligence to see it's an issue which affects your partners, whatever partner it may be. I know that my husband certainly kind of suffered with me, because I've had the fan on, and he would say, I'm going to be found frozen to death one of these days, because outside it's -2 when we've got a fan in our bedroom and the window's open. And so for me, absolutely, I think it's because it's very inclusive, and it does talk about partners and family life and how it impacts. And how do you can start slow. You could do 1,000 steps a day, and then you increase it and you increase it. And like, once you, I suppose, embark on this journey, then see it through for yourself. And for me, even that I would finish the program, to me, I now don't even think about it as a program, because I'm thinking, this is how I need to live, because it makes me feel happy and healthy.
Oh, I love that. So one more thing, do you have any final words?
I suppose for the people who are already on it, carry on, because it does bear fruits, even if there are some points when it might not feel like that. And the ones who are going to start, absolutely give it a chance.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.